What if I told you that researchers at the University of Illinois discovered something remarkable? That a specific type of training could actually reverse brain aging by 1 to 2 years. Not just slow it down or maintain it, but actually reverse it. And here's what makes this even more interesting. This same training improved balance and spatial memory so significantly that participants showed a 2% increase in their hippocampus volume, the brain region responsible for balance, spatial navigation, and preventing falls. The researchers called it theoretically important. I'm calling it essential if you want to stay independent, active, and fall-free as you move through your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Because here's the reality most people don't talk about. Falls don't just happen to old people. They happen to active, healthy individuals in their late 50s and 60s who thought they had plenty of time to worry about balance later. One moment you're hiking, gardening, or playing with grandchildren. The next, you're recovering from a hip fracture that changes everything. But what if you could train your body and brain now, before any balance issues appear? Using just 5 specific exercises that take about 20 minutes twice a week. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And fair warning, these aren't your typical senior exercises. These are evidence-based movements that researchers used in actual clinical trials with remarkable results. Drop a comment below with your age and where you're watching from. Let's build a community of people who are training smarter, not waiting until problems start. Now, before we dive into the 5 exercises, I need you to understand something critical about how your balance system works. Because once you understand why these exercises work, you'll actually do them. Your balance isn't controlled by one system. It's controlled by 3 systems working together, all controlled by your brain. First, your vestibular system. That's the inner ear mechanism that tells you which way is up. Second, your vision. Your eyes constantly scan and adjust to keep you upright. Third, your proprioception. The sensors in your muscles, joints, and feet that tell your brain where your body is in space. And fourth, the most critical component, your brain itself. It's the central processor that takes all this incoming information and makes split-second decisions. Shift weight left, engage core muscles, adjust ankle angle. Your brain's processing speed and reaction time determine whether you catch yourself or hit the ground. Here's the problem. All 4 components naturally decline with age. Your vestibular response slows down. Your visual processing speeds decrease. Those proprioceptive sensors become less sensitive. And your brain's processing speed, its ability to rapidly integrate all this information and react, that slows too. But a 2020 study published in Scientific Reports found something fascinating about resistance training done on unstable surfaces. Participants aged 65 to 79 who trained for just 10 weeks showed significant improvements in working memory by 11%, processing speed by 19%, and response inhibition by 8%. Why does this matter for balance? Because the researchers discovered that when you challenge your balance and your muscles simultaneously, you're forcing all 3 systems to work together under stress. You're essentially training your brain to process faster, react quicker, and coordinate better. Think of it like this. Most people wait until they notice balance problems, but by then you've already lost years of coordination. These exercises train your balance system before problems appear, when your brain is still highly adaptable. A study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences put 120 older adults through a walking program. After 1 year, they didn't just improve fitness, they increased hippocampal volume by 2%, effectively reversing age-related shrinkage by 1 to 2 years. The participants who showed the greatest brain volume increases, they also showed the biggest improvements in spatial memory. Your hippocampus isn't just about memory, it's crucial for spatial navigation, knowing where you are, anticipating obstacles, and coordinating complex movements. When you train balance, you're literally growing the brain regions that keep you safe. Now I'm going to walk you through 5 exercises in order, from foundational to most challenging. We're starting with exercise number 5 because it builds the base skills you need. And we're building up to exercise number 1, which creates the most neurological demand and gives you the biggest protective benefits. Think of it like building a house. You need the foundation before you add the roof. Exercise number 5, tandem walk or heel-to-toe walking. Let's start with something that looks simple but reveals exactly where your balance stands right now. This is called tandem walking or heel-to-toe walking. Olympic gymnasts do this on a 4-inch beam. You're going to do it on the floor. Why this exercise? Remember that 2020 scientific report study on instability training? The researchers specifically tested set shifting, your brain's ability to rapidly adjust to changing demands. Tandem walking trains exactly this, your brain constantly shifting weight, adjusting your center of gravity, and coordinating movement in a narrow base of support. The study also measured processing speed, how quickly your brain responds to balance challenges. Participants who trained with unstable, challenging exercises improved processing speed by 19%. Tandem walking creates a similar challenge by narrowing your base of support, forcing faster neural processing. Here's how to do the tandem walk. Find a hallway or clear space about 10 feet long. Place your right heel directly in front of your left toes. Walk forward, placing each heel directly against the toes of your other foot. Keep your eyes looking forward, not down at your feet. Do 10 steps forward, turn around, and return. If this feels too difficult, start by walking along a straight line on the floor, like a tile line or piece of tape. Just getting your feet close together, but without having your heels and toes touch. Build up to full heel-to-toe contact over 2 to 3 weeks. When you're ready for more, try this. Once you can do 20 steps easily, add head turns. Turn your head left and right while walking. This challenges your vestibular system specifically. The most advanced version? Close your eyes for short segments, but only if you have something to grab onto for safety. Do 3 sets of 10 steps twice per week. That's it. This single exercise begins training the coordinated movement patterns that prevent falls in crowded places, on uneven sidewalks, and in dim lighting. Exercise number 4. Sit to stand without hands. This might be the single most important fall prevention exercise you can do. Here's why. A comprehensive analysis of multiple studies found that the inability to stand from a chair without using your hands is highly predictive of fall risk in older adults. Not just correlated, predictive. But here's what makes this exercise powerful. It's not just about leg strength. A study at the University of British Columbia, published in the Archives of Internal Medicine, tested resistance training on 155 women aged 65 to 75. After 12 months, the women who did challenging resistance exercises improved their executive function, the brain's ability to plan and execute complex movements. Sit to stand trains exactly this, the coordinated firing of your quads, glutes, core, and balance systems all at once, while your brain plans the movement and adjusts in real time. Here's the protocol. Sit in a standard height chair, not a low couch. Put your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Cross your arms over your chest. Lean forward slightly, then push through your heels to stand. Control your descent back to seated. Don't just drop. The key is to keep your weight on your heels, not your toes. If your knees drift forward past your toes, you're relying too much on knee strength instead of using your powerful hip and glute muscles. If this feels too difficult, start by using one finger on a table for light support, not to pull yourself up, just for balance. Over 2 to 3 weeks, reduce the finger pressure until you can do it completely unaided. When you're ready for more, try this. Once you can do 10 repetitions easily, add a 3-second pause while seated, just sitting there with your weight on your heels, ready to stand but not moving yet. This eliminates momentum and forces pure strength. Eventually, try lowering the chair height by using a lower bench or step. Start with just 1 to 2 inches lower than standard chair height. Aim for 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions twice per week. This exercise matters because it builds the explosive leg power you need in critical moments, when you step on loose gravel during a hike and need to quickly recover, when you're carrying groceries and need to adjust your balance, or when you're stepping up onto an uneven curb and need that instant power to catch yourself. The difference between a close call and a serious fall often comes down to whether your legs can generate force quickly enough to save you. Exercise number 3. Single leg stance with head turns. Now we're going to directly challenge your vestibular system, that inner ear mechanism that tells you which way is up. Here's a sobering reality. Vestibular function declines significantly after age 40, but research shows it's highly trainable. That same 2020 Scientific Reports study found that participants who did unstable resistance training improved response inhibition by 8%. Response inhibition is your brain's ability to stop an incorrect movement and correct it instantly, exactly what you need when you start to lose balance. Single leg stance with head turns trains this directly. When you turn your head while standing on one leg, you're forcing your vestibular system to rapidly recalibrate while your visual system is moving. It's uncomfortable. That's the point. Here's what you do. Stand next to a counter or wall, close enough to grab if needed. Lift your right foot about 6 inches off the ground. Hold for 10 seconds while looking straight ahead. Then, while still on one leg, turn your head slowly to look left, then right. Each head turn takes 2 to 3 seconds. Switch legs and repeat. If this feels too difficult, start by just standing on one leg next to support, no head turns. Build up to 30 seconds of solid balance before adding the head movement. You can also lightly touch the wall with one fingertip for stability while your vestibular system adapts. When you're ready for more, try this. Once you can do 30 seconds with head turns easily, try it with your eyes closed for 10-second intervals. This removes visual input and forces your vestibular system and proprioception to do all the work. This is advanced. Only progress to this when you're completely stable with eyes open. Do 3 sets of 30 seconds per leg, alternating head turns left and right, twice per week. The 2011 PNAS walking study I mentioned earlier, they specifically linked improved spatial memory to better balance outcomes. When you challenge your vestibular system, you're not just training balance, you're maintaining the brain regions that keep you oriented in space. Before we continue, if you've been enjoying the video so far, please click subscribe and hit that like button, so other people can discover these wellness practices backed by real science as well. We've got more evidence-based health wisdom videos coming every week, and you don't want to miss the next one. Exercise number 2, the 4 square step. This exercise comes from clinical fall risk assessments. Researchers use it to predict who's at highest risk for falls. We're going to use it as training. Why is this so effective? Because most falls don't happen walking forward. They happen when you're moving sideways to avoid an obstacle, stepping backward in a crowded space, or changing direction quickly. Research published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience in 2025 showed that exercise, cognitive dual-task training, movements that combine physical and mental challenges, improved frailty scores and balance in older adults by 28% over 16 weeks. The 4 square step pattern creates exactly this challenge, your brain planning multi-directional movement while your body executes it. Here's the setup. Use painter's tape to create a cross on the floor, 2 lines intersecting to create 4 squares. Each square should be about 2 to 3 feet. Stand in square 1, front left. And this is the pattern you follow. Step right onto square 2, front right. Step back onto square 3, back right. Step left onto square 4, back left. Step forward, back onto square 1. Now do the pattern in reverse. Step back onto square 4, right onto square 3, forward onto square 2, and left back onto square 1. You've just completed one cycle. The goal isn't speed, it's smooth, controlled movement in all directions. If this feels too difficult, start with just forward and backward stepping between two squares. Once that's comfortable, add the lateral, sideways movements. You can also make the squares smaller initially. 18 inches works fine to start. When you're ready for more, try this. Once you can complete 5 cycles smoothly, add a cognitive challenge. Count backward from 100 by 3s while you step. 100, 97, 94, 91, and so on. This dual task component specifically trains your brain to maintain balance while cognitively distracted. Exactly what happens in real life when you're walking and talking, or moving through a crowded space. Do 3 to 5 cycles twice per week. This exercise matters because it trains reaction time, multi-directional control, and the ability to move safely in complex real-world environments. Exercise number 1. Single leg balance on unstable surface. This is the most challenging exercise in the protocol, and it's the one that might save you from a serious fall. Remember that 2020 scientific report study on instability training? They found that participants who trained on unstable surfaces improved working memory by 11%. But here's what's remarkable. They improved cognitive function while exercising with less weight than stable training groups. The instability created a neurological challenge that exceeded the benefits of pure added weight. Single leg balance on an unstable surface, like a foam pad or folded towel, creates maximal challenge to all 3 balance systems: your vestibular system, your vision, and especially your proprioception, those sensors in your feet that tell your brain where you are. To do this exercise, you'll need a foam pad, a thick folded towel, or a couch cushion, firm enough to stand on safely, but soft enough to create instability. Here's what you do. Place the foam pad or towel or cushion on the floor next to a counter. Step onto the pad with your right foot. Lift your left foot 6 inches off the ground. Hold for 10 seconds, focusing on a point straight ahead. Switch legs. If this feels too difficult, start on firm ground with a single leg stance until you can hold 30 seconds consistently. Then progress to the uneven surface. You can also start with the pad against a wall where you can touch for support. And here is what you can try when you're ready for more. Once you can hold 30 seconds easily on each leg on the uneven surface, try these progressions. 1. Add slow arm movements, reaching up and out to the sides. 2. Close your eyes for 10-second intervals. 3. Toss and catch a small ball while balanced. And 4. Combine foam surface plus arm movements plus counting backward by 7s. Each progression adds a layer of challenge that forces your balance systems to work harder. Do 3 sets of 30 seconds per leg twice per week. That 2011 University of Illinois study showed a 2% increase in hippocampus volume, brain growth in the region responsible for spatial navigation and balance. This exercise, more than any other, creates the neurological demand that drives that adaptation. Let me tell you what makes these 5 exercises different from just staying active. Walking is great. Yoga is wonderful. But neither specifically trains your balance systems under the kind of challenge that prevents falls. These 5 exercises do. The research is clear. Balance training with instability improved cognitive processing by 19%, working memory by 11%, and response inhibition by 8% in just 10 weeks. Regular aerobic training increased brain volume by 2%, and reversed age-related shrinkage by 1 to 2 years after 1 year. But here's what matters most. These exercises take about 20 minutes twice per week, not 60 minutes of walking every day, not an hour at the gym. 20 minutes twice a week to train the systems that let you keep hiking, traveling, playing with grandkids, and doing everything you love, not just for the next few years, but for decades to come. Compare that to the alternative, waiting until you have a balance problem, then spending months in physical therapy after a fall that could have been prevented. Here's my challenge to you. Do these 5 exercises twice this week. That's it. Just try them. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to progress quickly. You just have to start training your balance system before you need it. Because the difference between confidently hiking at 75 and being afraid to take the stairs at 70 often comes down to whether you trained your balance system early or waited until problems started. Drop a comment. Which exercise are you going to try first? And if you found this valuable, share it with someone who needs to see it. This isn't information people stumble across. You have to send it to them. And if you want more evidence-based training protocols like this, not generic advice, but actual research-backed strategies, hit that subscribe button. Your future self will thank you.